Hi, everybody. This is Jenny. Welcome to my Lit podcast. I'm so happy that you're with us today, and I have a very special guest. Welcome, Rocky.
Hello, I'm Roc Sol from Miami, Florida, representing Project Roadmap and the future of NFTs.
That's right. Well, let's just jump right into it because you brought everything up in one sentence. So you're an artist.
Yes.
Let's start at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide to become an artist?
So it really started when I was a kid watching my dad. My dad's a graphic designer, and he would do like t-shirt designs for the Miami Heat, for Digimon, for the Marlins. He would do like these shirts for like roller coasters for like Busch Garden. I remember one time he did like this one shirt called Cobra, and it was a cobra that turned into like a roller coaster. And it was like this weird thing that he did like for t-shirt designs on I think it was on Adobe Illustrator, if I'm not mistaken. And I was a kid just watching that, and it just kind of got me like excited to be like a creator. Most of the time that I spent doing art, like in middle school and high school, like my creativity was kind of dormant. But as soon as I graduated high school, I went to college. I got into graffiti, and that's when I started practicing different art techniques, learning how to outline, how to do like fills, characters, shading. I was horrible at the beginning. Like I wasn't good, like it's just everyone starts off somewhere,
Right.
So it was like my letters were too big, or my perspective was like all over the place, and gradually, I just got better and better, and I'm at where I'm at today. I guess
you didn't stop.
Consistency.
That's amazing.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, because that's a big one. I can imagine how many people try something, myself included, and I'm like, there's no way I'm ever gonna be any good. This is awful, and you walk away.
Yeah, I think there's that, and there's fear. There's always going to be fear. But a lot of it is just like, if you're passionate, if it makes you happy, the next day is just, it's just trial and error. Everything I see is trial and error. You're going to make mistakes. None of us are perfect. But that's a lesson for the next day. And that's kind of like how I see stuff,
And when you started graffiti, did you take like a course in college, or you were kind of like introduced through the regular outside medium?
The graffiti scene is a tough scene. So
I've heard.
Yep. So the graffiti scene is kind of like, so I'm into hip hop, underground hip hop, and it's based on like the four elements: graffiti, emceeing, b-boy, and DJing. There's some other elements as well, but those are like the main four.
Right.
But graffiti is the only element in hip hop that doesn't really need hip hop to survive. It's anyone could be a graffiti artist, could be a rocker, could be someone who listens to dance music. But the Miami graffiti scene is not the nicest scene in the world.
In what sense?
In what sense is like, if you want to learn how to do something in the Miami graffiti scene, graffiti writers will look at you and they'll laugh, because they're like, "Oh, you really want to learn? You want to be a part of this environment?"
Tough love.
Tough. That like the toughest of tough love. And I think it was good to a certain extent,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like if you want to onboard people, there needs to be some type of, compassion and understanding,
right?
Versus having ego, But yeah, that's how I came up. I needed to prove myself. In hip hop, you have to prove yourself. You have to be like, oh, you really think you're that good, or you really want to learn this. You want to learn this technique that took me 20 years to do. You want to be better than me. And then it's like, oh, you check the temperature in the room, and it's like, okay, they want to know how long I'm going to be here.
Right. Are you serious about this? Are you willing to put in the work and the efforts?
Yeah. People come in from the outside, are like, oh, this is cool. This is pretty. This is awesome. And then I realize that the person that created that vibe or that look spent 20, 30 years doing it. And I think what it is that they're very protective. That's the best way I could put it. They're protective of their scene and their culture.
That's admirable, though. I like that.
And then I guess I just didn't stop. I just, even if people make fun of me, they're like, oh, this is horrible. I'm like, all right, cool. Next day.
I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll come back. A lot of those people I'm like are my brothers, like my best friend, like my boy Kesso. Like, he was always hard on me. You know, he was like, yo, like, you got to fix this. You got to do that. I go, but why? It's like, because it doesn't look good. I was like, okay, fine.
Right.
But he sees where I'm at now. And he's like proud. So.
Oh, that's nice. Have you had the chance to mentor someone already?
Yeah, I used to teach music and art therapy. So I've actually ran into my students this year that I haven't seen in years and be like, oh, Mr. Rocky. And I go, who's this? And he's like, oh, it's, you know, so-and-so. Like, I can't say their name because.
No, right.
But I'm like, no way. Like, these are kids I used to teach in lockdown facilities.
You had what age group?
I used to teach music and art therapy to kids in lockdown facilities. So I would go into like foster homes and you know, kind of like juvenile detention centers.
Yeah.
So the age group would range from like, you know, 11 all the way to 18.
That's such a tough age.
Yeah.
And a tough situation for them to be in.
The art was kind of like an avenue to cope with where they're at, but also to build them, like give them fundamentals. So when they get out, they're not looking at society as black and white. They're looking at it through the spectrum of colors and ideas and just different avenues and opportunities versus just, oh, I'm going to get in trouble as soon as I get out.
Right.
It's like, well, you're very talented. You could sing, you can write music, you could do art, you know? And they're like, oh, Mr. Rocky, I can't do art. I was like, no, you can. Watch. This is how you do it. We're going to do it step by step. It's literally a sequence of events. So to me, you know, those are the people that I mentored, you know. I have mentors myself, but, you know, I know for sure that, and it's funny because I didn't realize it at the time. I was just, you know, working, trying to make sure I was doing a good job. Mm-hmm. But now I realize it because these kids are adults now. Now they have kids or they're starting their own family or, you know, it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have been so cool to see them now.
Yeah.
All grown up and like a full person.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy because you see someone in a good place and you just know that, you know, you might have had a little impact in their life. And I feel like teachers are very like underestimated. You know, like, you know, we got good teachers, we got bad teachers, but the really, really good ones are like the ones that will help the worst student. The student that needs the most help. Not the one that is a straight A. The one that has straight A's and everything has their life together.
Exactly.
It's the one that and this is one thing that I realize about life is that sometimes we need to save the people that are not savable because you don't know how they're going to return it back. You don't like, you might change someone's life and they might save other people. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the, you know, the kindness, like what you did. So I know it's very like important. So
amazing. Oh my God. You must have been such a wonderful teacher. Like how did you walk away from that, from being in that situation?
It was a good environment, but I needed to, you know, like it was a nonprofit, you know, and, you know, like sometimes it's rewarding, you know, but I had to do other things in life as well, you know, just to kind of
understand,
just to maintain and to, you know, like move forward and stuff.
And it's a tough job. It takes a lot from you, no matter how important you know it is and how fulfilling it is for you. It takes a lot. Yeah.
I would love to help people like 24/7. If I could, that would be, you know, my life's work, which I think I'm kind of moving in that direction.
I was going to say, you're still doing that, but just in a different avenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if it were up to me, I would give everybody work, give everybody opportunities. Obviously, you have to prove that you could do it good, you know, to be a part of, you know, because that's like any company that you work for or anything. Like you have to, you know, show and prove and stuff. But for the most part, leaving that, I feel like everything's going to come back in full circle.
Definitely. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were any of your old students at the event you had a couple of weeks ago?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. But they know they're in the dancing. Like a lot of them in the dancing. A lot of them have families. A lot of them watch what I'm doing through social media. So it's crazy. It's crazy, you know, that I didn't stop doing art or music and that everyone's seeing like what's happening now, you know? Yeah. So I'm kind of glad I didn't stop. So
yeah, we all are. We're all very glad you didn't stop. Because then we wouldn't have your art. So
thank you.
Tell me about that first time that you finally said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dive in, and you saw that piece for the first time. What was that experience like?
Oh, like I'm going to do art for the first time?
Yeah, like when you started doing graffiti and you finally felt like you nailed it and you made your first piece that you felt was good enough to be seen.
Anything, like, for me in my life where I was like, I passed like a certain moment in my life of achievement, it always happened like months or days later after the fact. And what I mean by that is when I started getting good at pieces, it was like 5 or 6 pieces in that were all these pieces are fire, but I just didn't give myself that pat in the back. I was just like, okay, I gotta, I gotta, make sure that I could duplicate this and multiply it. And then I was like, okay, after like 5 or 10 of those pieces that look amazing, I was like, okay, I think I got something here, So like to be like a one singular piece, like that wasn't like how I was programmed. I'm very like a numbers. I'm like, okay, if I could do this more than once, then I have something.
I think you're very humble. It's what it is. Yeah.
I try. I just know that there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of people that are like beyond like comprehension in regards to what comes out of their mind and their heart. And I just know that I have my own avenue, and I just move on my own. I try to contribute the best way I can,
right?
And learning new ways of doing art, and then because I already know what it's like to kind of come in and be like, oh yeah, I'm the best, and you're around, and then you see the best show up, you're like, oh whoa, well I was kidding. Hold on, I was like there's a lot of people that we don't know that are not on social media that are just like they're amazing at what they do, right. And it's for me it's just hard work. That's all, just work.
I think there needs to be a healthy balance of knowing your worth, but also, staying humble and understanding that the world is big.
Yes. I think there's a lot of artists that are even more talented than me, but they get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Because of,
That's unfortunate.
They're not business minded or, I was talking to my friend Nestor about this. I wish people would know better in a sense, like they would recognize someone's value and just, be professional about it. Like if you're a business person and you see someone's art, let's come up with a number, let's come up with a contract, and let's figure it out. Not make an assumption that someone's going to do something for free just because they want exposure.
Right.
And it's kind of like, it's hard for me because I want to see the best in people, but I have to come and have to be business minded too to protect myself.
Absolutely.
So for the artist that's really, really talented, I think to have them create more, they have to protect themselves. Because what happens is when they get, taken advantage of, then they're like, oh, I don't want to do this no more.
Right.
Or I just, and they kind of lose that spark and that flame. And I feel like there needs to be a healthy balance between the creator and the business person. Right. Business people are not emotional. Creators are. But there has to be like a medium,
Yeah, that's such a good way of putting it. Would you advise to an artist that feels like the business side is just not their comfort level, they're not going to do it? Would you advise them to seek help, like have someone that they trust that can do that for them? Yeah,
absolutely. I'm doing it right now. I can't do I do clerical work, shipping, receiving, everything myself, but eventually it's not going to it's getting to the point where I have to only focus on creating the art.
That's so exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And what I would tell to a creator is if you have to do it all yourself at the beginning, do so. But once things get a little bit out of scope in a sense of like the amount of work that you have going on, you have to surrender everything that you're doing and give the keys to someone else that you can trust, to get the job done, But it's essential. You need a team. You need a team.
And lean into your strengths, right? Like if your strength is in art, don't worry about the business side of things, right? Like find someone that's their strength and then they can handle that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I want to do is find people like me and just help them, like help them the best way they can. Because I know what it's like to not have resources and working with what you got, working with what you got. Like the fact that people value my art where it's at right now versus the materials. Like they don't care about the materials I use. I can use Dollar Tree materials as long as the art gets produced.
Right.
That really shows the perspective of value and how subjective it is.
They want your talent. They don't care how it got there. You know? Yeah, for sure.
So if I could help someone get to that point in the future, it would, be an A+ for me. Hopefully the life teacher gives me an A+.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's on its way because what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
So let's backtrack a little bit. So you were doing graffiti. You were also teaching.
Yes.
And then what happened? Tell me what the next step was.
The next couple of years, so from teaching music and art therapy, I was able to start getting into the patterns that you see here. Mm-hmm. I would, so the kids, they like doing the graffiti letters, but they also like the way I, formulated patterns and stuff. So I would create these patterns and have them like fill it in, and it kind of looked like stained glass.
Yeah.
So it's like this kind of stained glass art that I came up with, and remember going to Catholic school and being like, wow, like this is really cool, like the way the light hits the stained glass. Right. And my art kind of looks of it like it now. So I took that and then I started applying it to apparel. So I would paint it on a snapback, and I made my first sale. I sold it to this lady, and she probably does, I don't know if she owns this hat, but it was just the brim and the top of the hat. That's how I started before I started painting all around it. And that's when I kind of knew. I was like, okay, well, I can get paid to do canvases. I can get paid to do apparel. I was already getting paid to do murals at the time. I had painted like a whole gym by myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, I don't know, I just did that, and I would do telemarketing. So I would do inbound sales. So I would make my hourly rate plus commission, and then I would get paid on top of that to do art. So that's kind of how I saw, like, art to me was like that extra bonus commission that I was doing from my 9 to 5. So that was my life for like, I don't know how many years until now. And then NFTs.
Yeah. So let's jump into that exciting part. How did you get introduced to NFTs?
So the way I got introduced to NFTs, when I first heard about NFTs was last year, I think in May or in April. I was in Clubhouse and I was hearing about NFTs, but I thought NFTs essentially were just kind of like a virtual gallery. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really, like people were talking about NFTs and I was like, all right, cool. It's just a gallery. And, it's a huge misconception that I had. Fast forward to October, my friend Stesson, he hits me up. He's like, hey man, I think we should have a meeting with Jet. And I was like, oh, and Jet and Stesson's my best friend. Jet is part of Future Force. He's one of the main leaders of Future Force, and him and Stesson are the same crew. So Stesson hits me up and he's like, yo, I think we should have a meeting with Jet. He want to talk about NFTs. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we have this meeting. We meet in Panera Bread. It was me, Stesson, and Dee, my fiance. And, Jet pulls out his phone like this and he just shows it to me. Like, this is Jet, like right here. He shows me his phone. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, so this is my my OpenSea account, and this is my MetaMask, and these are the NFTs that I own. And he pulls up a Bored Ape, and I'm like, all right, cool, like this is awesome. He goes, this is worth $250K, and I go, no, it's not. Lying. Yeah, I go, no, it's not. It doesn't make any sense. And then he starts telling me about what utility is, and what a roadmap is, and the NFT community and why it's value, what it is. Like from Bored Ape Yacht Club being released, last year to the IRL events that they had. And I'm just like, okay, so explain to me again what an NFT is. He's like, okay, it's a non-fungible token. It's in a smart contract that's in the blockchain. You could say that it's a JPEG or whatnot, but what you're buying is the contract you're buying into that community.
Right.
And that community has like features and benefits that kind of outweigh the price point of the JPEG to begin with. Because when you go to these IRL events, you start collaborating with angel investors. You start collaborating with, people who own tech companies, people that you were, if you were a college student and you own an ape, now you have access to these people. Not that you didn't have it before, but you bought in early. You got lucky. Right. So it's like all these opportunities and doors that are opening and stuff didn't exist before in Web 2. Like Web 3 made all that possible. And when I left Panera Bread, I was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my iPad. I'm gonna start creating my Soulbot characters. I'm gonna start breaking down the attributes because that's how they were explaining to me that it's basically like just different attributes that you load up and the developer creates those 10,000 units. So I left Panera Bread, started working on it, creating like all my characters and stuff. And I put that on hold for 2 months. So October. And then November, there's this other person that hits me up on Instagram by the name of Post. And I thought it was a fake account because he only had like 4 pictures. And he's like, Post is like, I think you should do NFTs. And I go, okay. But I don't know thank you. I don't know who this person is.
Right.
This person's very important, by the way. He's like, he hits me up weeks later again. He's like, yo, they're going to need you to paint a mural for the Bored Ape Yacht Club during Art Basel. And I was like, we're going to put you in the Discord. And I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't think nothing much of it. Then he invites me into the Discord. And the Discord's like Basel Apes. And it was all Bored Ape people. And I was like, okay, this is serious. So then I start talking to everybody in the group chat. Start letting them know that, I'm probably going to paint a mural for them. Everybody got excited. And then I started like creating like background derivatives for the apes. I did one for Post. He posted it up. And then that's when everything just started blowing up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And do you know how he found you?
It's crazy. Okay, so I have a client, Angelo. He drives from Port St. Lucie all the way down to buy my artwork. Oh, wow. He's like one of my few clients that do that. He will literally drive down just to talk to me and meet me. And he had a Soulbot sticker from because I also write and record music. He went to my album release last year in February, and he has my coloring book and my stickers. Nice. And the sticker was in a coffee mug, and then he took a picture of his coffee mug, and then he's friends with Post. Post saw it, and that's how I got hit up. So,
that is what a cool story.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah,
how the dots are gonna connect. So you just gotta live life.
Angelo, thank you.
Yeah, Angelo, for real. That was a good post.
Yes,
to post
exactly. Like, so he invited me into the Discord. I started doing the background derivatives for the BAYC, and then I started doing derivatives for other blue check NFT projects. The mural thing fell through. It didn't happen, but that's okay because what ended up happening was I ended up pitching an idea to Post, and then he ended up pitching it to NFT Poppy and all the other apes. And what I wanted to do was NFT Poppy was throwing an event, and I was like, I think it would be cool to paint these apes live on a canvas. And it was essentially supposed to be just 5 apes. And I remember being in the hotel during Thanksgiving, after we came back from the Thanksgiving party, and just everybody hitting me up on Discord and being like, hey, do you have a chance? Can you fit me in to do the ape? And I was like, okay. From 5 it went to 6, from 6 it went to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Before I knew, I had 16 canvases that I had to paint. So wow. I ordered the canvases. They all came in. I started painting them, prepping them up and getting them ready for the Basel event. Then we had the Basel event. I painted 15 of them live. I had one that I had already painted
15 in one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Live. Yeah. And then that's kind of how my name started, gaining traction. And then I just started, rinse and repeat, doing the same thing, and then we moved on to the Ape Wall of Fame mural,
which is the one that we saw at your event.
Yes.
Right.
So with that one, I had the idea of just kind of scaling up. So I was like, okay, if I can do 16 canvases, what would it look like if people saw apes lined up in a PFP kind of magazine style? So I was on a hunt to look for a decent wall. And Jet helped me connect with Jacob, and Jacob was able to get me that wall location. And we started,
which is perfect.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Right on the corner.
We'll put the the link to that gallery
Yeah.
down below so people can see where it is and
Yeah.
they can go by and take a picture and tag both of us.
Yes.
That would be so cool.
Yeah,
that wall is so fun.
Yeah. It was definitely a journey. Like so my whole goal and purpose behind, you know, educating people on NFTs is letting people know that, look, that wall, we got commissioned out to do it, like, by each of the IP owners, you know?
Right.
But those IP owners, like, if they didn't invest in Bored Ape Yacht Club last year or all these other NFT projects, then we wouldn't exist. Like, I wouldn't exist, you know? For me, I'm really big on practicality and reality. Like, if it's not real, if it's all, like, fake, that it's... But as soon as I started getting paid in Ethereum, as soon as the apes started paying us for the wall and the canvases and everything, I was like, this has to be real. Like, it cannot just come from nothing, you know? So, I mean, my life changed. So it went from doing the canvases to doing the mural. And because I was doing the mural, I couldn't work my regular job anymore. So I had to quit my regular job and pursue art full time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's such a big step.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
and so exciting and so well deserved.
It was scary.
Artists should be doing art full time.
Yeah,
that should be your life.
Yeah, it's for me it was the majority of my life was I was selling art and making good money out of it.
Yeah, but
somehow this space was created. I saw there was a huge gap and I saw there was opportunity everywhere. And everything just started lining up. So that fear about, you know, like, oh, I don't know where the money's going to come from here or how we're going to pay for the wedding or this, that, and the third. Like, it just slowly. And it's funny because my fiance, she got to see all that.
Right.
Like, I always looked at her and be like, are you sure I'm doing the right thing? Like, are you sure this is good? She's like, no, you're good. You're good. Thank you for telling me where you're good, you know?
That's such a cool experience. Can you imagine when you know, years down the line, you tell your children about that?
Yeah. Her belief in me is really why I go this hard. Like, I want her to be happy. I want her to be comfortable. Like, I do a lot of this stuff just to make sure that we're living like a peaceful, happy life. Yeah. You know? So like that's the feel, you know? And you know, it's just like I said, everything needed to line up and it just I was focused, you know, bullseye, ready to go.
What would you say to people that are still having trouble coming to terms with NFTs?
I think it's hard to explain to them what it is because of all the hype. But I feel like when you throw IRL events, you get to meet the people. And then later on, after the party, you get to network and talk to them or feel comfortable to go into a Twitter space. And then you start listening to what the people are saying on Twitter. Hey, you need to, you know, guys, make sure to set up your MetaMask, make sure you have your seed phrase, you know, make sure, you know, 48 hours of research with each project, talk to people in the community, check out the Discord, check out the Twitter, check out the website, make sure everything looks good. You know, like people are not buying NFT projects anymore that are, you know, being advertised. What they're doing is they're going into the space and they're talking to the people who are supporting that project and they're asking questions like, what's the utility? What's the roadmap? You know, like, what's the artist like? Does the artist really support this project? Yeah. You know, there's so many. The cool thing about this is that people in the NFT space are very savvy and they're very smart, but that comes with patience. So all the people that are coming in now that are trying to, you know, get money and trying to make a flip, they're going to, you know, they're going to get burned and they're going to learn. But some of those people might stay because they might be like, there's a lot of authenticity and genuineness to this. There's a lot of bad projects, but there's a lot of great projects. Right. There's a lot of projects that catch a bad break and somehow they survive and they go the distance with bumps on the road and everything that's like hard to control. I mean, just yesterday, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Doodles, a lot of the blue check projects all got hacked on Discord and everything.
Okay, I was living under a rock because I did not know this.
Yeah, it happened yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
All of them get hacked, yeah.
Whoa. That's crazy.
So that's where we're at right now. This is still the Wild Wild West, but at the same time, it's like you have to have emotional intelligence, you know? When Alien Friends got hacked and, you know, people lost, I think they lost like 200K or something, you know, Mason, the co-founder artist, he was able to reimburse people back. That's unheard of, you know? So it's like,
that's true.
That's customer service right there. That's protecting your community. So it's, to me, NFTs are a lot bigger than me just creating the artwork. And that's what I'm starting to realize, because I want to come out with a project too. You know, I want to do something where I have 10,000 people that have a Roc Sol bot, but I also want to make sure that I do right by them and they're protected, because what's the point of everybody buying my artwork if something happens and then they lose an opportunity or they lose their NFT? So that's where you have to get a developer or someone to come in to make sure that your project is protected, the community, the mods, everything. So I was like, man, this is more than just putting out artwork. Mm-hmm. The art is just the first thing. Then there's your legacy. It's like a franchise. Yeah.
There's so much to it, which is what I think is so exciting about it. You know.
Yeah.
It's like like you said, it doesn't stop at the art. That's just the beginning.
The art is the beginning, and then what happens is, like, these projects, they generate money, but the people in the community, they want to know where that money's gonna go on a quarterly basis. So it's like you kind of have to have everything mapped out.
It's a business plan.
Yeah, exactly. A business plan. Yeah. And, you know, like, there's so much to it, but I just think for the average person who's going to learn, to just take it one day at a time. Because if you really think about it, there's so much information in it already, and it's going to continue to evolve and get faster than what it is now. It's already fast. People are already degenning for hours. They don't leave their house. So there's going to be like a break where it's going to be so fast that it's not going to make sense to anyone. Even like to us that we know exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are times when I have to like be like, okay, hold on. You know, let me take a minute. Let me step away from it, digest it, think about it, and come back, because you're right. Like it's just so fast. It's so hard to keep up with. And it's intimidating for us older folk, you know?
I mean, we were used, our lives changed after the pandemic, you know? The pandemic happened and we're at home and we're starting to think and move and feel differently, because we used to move all the time. Mm-hmm. Now you throw in something like this and you're like, well, this is kind of like how assets and how money and things are exchanged. And you're like, but I like the way old money used to be. It's like, well, you like it because that's the way it used to be. But now
it was easy. You don't have to learn anything. But it doesn't mean that it's the best way.
When people started telling me, like, oh, you should also accept NFTs as payment or Ethereum, I was like, at the beginning, I was like, well, that doesn't make no sense. Hold on, wait. What do you? And now, but like, that was like 4 months ago for me. Like, I had to, for the wall, I had to get paid in Ethereum. And I had to figure out how to transfer from Ethereum to USD. Yeah. And I was like, man, I hope all this works. I'm doing all this being like, man, I hope all this works, because I have to pay people. I have to pay myself. I have to do all these things. Like, and it did. It all went through. And I was like, this is the future. It is. And it was so like quick and seamless, and you don't have to deal like with the banks. And I learned a lot in the span of like 2 or 3 months. So
what do you think NFTs will do for art in the future? We can see what it's doing now, but how far do you think it's going to push the art world?
I think business people, angel investors, like anyone that has money is looking at art as a way to make money, like to create franchises and to create all that stuff. I think for artists, it's changing the dynamic of, oh, I need to have a gallery and give the gallery 30%. It's like, well, no, I don't need to have a gallery. I just need to have a community. Mm-hmm. You know, I need to have developers. I need to have mods. I need to have people that I can trust for my project, versus going to a gallery, setting up your 16, 20 pieces, having them take your 30%, and then that's it. Yeah. That's where your name goes.
If you're lucky, because
if you're lucky,
from our experience, is usually 50% that they take, which is so much money.
Yeah, yeah,
it's insane how much money you guys have to shell out just to see a little bit come back. It's quite a lot.
It's And when you look back at it, you're like, oh, it doesn't make sense. But then it's like, that was the corner, that was the wall that we were pushed in. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like, okay,
you weren't given any other options. Where else would you show your art? You know, how else would you engage with people?
Now it's like, this is my price point. I remember throwing my first gallery show, and I remember the prices I had on that wall, and nobody got any art pieces. They only bought from the store. It was still, to me, it was a successful show, but it was a feel free show, and I had pieces up there for like a certain price point. I'm not gonna throw a number out there, but now I'm there, and I'm like, I remember talking to my fiance, being like, I have people buying my artwork for this much, and I remember 4 or 5 years ago, it was like, and it was just because, you know, the people that were there, like, they just don't have, you know, that money to pay for it, and you don't want to alienate people either, you know. But that's where I valued myself at the time. Right. But now I feel like it's more equal for everybody. Everybody has like an opportunity.
That's one of the things I really like about the space, is that now people that are buying these art pieces usually wouldn't own art, you know?
Yep.
Because in the real world, right? Like, how much money do you really need to buy an art piece? It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
I think what it is that, you know, and it's funny because a lot of my friends now, they look at art differently. They look at it like, well, I don't see why I need to spend $300 on a piece. And I explained to them, I was like, well, if the artist paints the piece, buys the materials, does this, like, you could go to Walmart and get a $300 canvas or $150 canvas, but what you want is someone to create something for you, and it to mean something, versus it looking pretty in your home. You're gonna get that regardless, which is fine. But if you like, and it's funny because there's subjective value. You can look at something and be like, hey, this is what I'm worth, and then that person's like, all right, cool. But not everyone's like that. But the people that I have around me now, they see art differently. They see business. It's almost business and art. They're all changing simultaneously. People are a lot more empathetic. They're a lot more understanding. There's still a lot of, you know, bad actors, a lot of people trying to take advantage of people's money and stuff. But there's a lot of really good just people in the space and projects. And, you know, like, it's hard because it's like, there's a huge wave right now. Everyone's wants to come in and make money, but I don't think that's what's gonna last, you know?
Definitely. I mean, that's unsustainable. It has to be a bigger purpose than just make money. Obviously, we all need to make money because we need it. Yeah. But it has to be a higher purpose, for sure.
For me, it's like, and it's kind of crazy because you can have a successful project, you can have it sell out, and that's good, but you still have a whole year ahead of you where you have to give the community something. You have to, like, and this is what's cool about the space, because like, once it's on smart contract, once the website's up, once you have that roadmap, if you don't deliver on those things that you say, your project's gonna be a dud. Right. And everyone's gonna...
And your reputation.
Yep.
Everything goes downhill.
You're gonna hear it on the Discord. You're gonna hear it on the Twitter. You're gonna...
There's a lot of accountability here, which I really like.
Exactly. That's another thing that I started gravitating towards. I was like, all right, cool. Like, it's cool to get paid, you know? But I was like, why am I gonna buy an NFT? Like, am I gonna buy it because I'm gonna flip it? Am I gonna buy it from the artwork? You know, like, what are my reasons towards that? So I'm like, okay, let me go on the Twitter space and let me start listening to people for this project. I like the artwork. It looks cool, but that's not everything. You can have really amazing artwork, but if the people who are running the project are treating the community bad, and what I mean by bad is they're just taking the money and not spending it or putting it back into the community, that's not good either. So I listen to those things. I listen to different projects, and I'm like, hey, and I ask people, like, what do you guys think about the art? What do you think about the community? You know, oh, I love the community because of this, this, and this. And for this specific reason, like, this person right here was helping this other person out and educating them on this. And I was like, okay, those are all tangible, like, things, like information and data that I put into before buying an NFT. You know, I'm an artist myself, so I love art. But now I had to, like, pump the brakes and be like, all right, cool. Like,
you gotta get yourself on the other side.
Yeah, in the business side, because I can be supporting a project that's not even a real project, that a project that's hurting a bunch of people. But I could be supporting a project where everyone is getting robbed or something. You know, not robbed, but like it's like a rug pull. You know.
Yeah.
So And that's also another thing that I noticed. Like as soon as my name started developing, now everyone asks like, "Oh, why did you buy this?" I was like, "Oh, I can't just buy anything now."
Oh, I see that.
Yep.
Okay, I never thought of that, right? Like now people are looking at you as like a guide.
Yeah, I have apes looking at me. Everyone looks like they look at my wallet. They look at, I mean, I have some that are bad. I bought some projects that are just like they didn't go anywhere. Like
Yeah,
it was just bad, and I'm because I was learning, and a lot of people
right.
have wallets like that. From apes, anyone, everyone has a project that they took a L on.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of factors into why projects fail, you know. But there's a lot of projects and a lot of things that I own that are decent. That if you look at ETH going up and down, and the panic, people panicking in the crypto space, like these projects are just like it's like a steady line. Like the
Yeah.
community is steady. Like they don't care if it goes to zero. They just love the artwork. They love the community, and
They
I'm
have their
like,
higher purpose. So it survives.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's so cool.
And my fiance gets mad at me, but I love Krypton Goons. Krypton Goons is kind of like this Disney, not Disney, like this, like the artist Sean. He did all these like different like characters, but it has like the old school vintage like Mickey look and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look exactly like Mickey, but it's like different attributes and stuff. But I love
I've seen
his
those.
art. Yeah, I love it. I have it on my banner, on my Twitter banner. I just love it. I think it's cool. I've always loved Disney. I love Mickey Mouse, and I just love that he created this grungy, urban, like look that everyone from all over the world, which is crazy too, because we got goons in UK, we got goons in Miami, we got we just created this world for everybody in like how many months? Like this takes years to do, and we did it like quick, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What has been the most crazy in a good way experience that you've had so far in the space?
I think just people's reactions to my art.
Yeah.
Surprising people. Like people's genuine reactions. Like to me that's the craziest thing. Still, like to go on a tourist space and do a background for someone and then have them like stutter and be like, where's I just got a DM from Roc Sol, and he did a background artwork to my NFT. I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm like,
oh, that's so nice. You surprise them?
I surprise people all the time.
Oh my goodness.
And I do that because like to build my name, but I also do it because like I get a kick out of it. I think it's also to see people like excited.
Yeah.
And today, like I get to meet people. When I meet people, their eyes light up. They're like, "Oh, you're this person." I'm like, "Yes, I." And then it's like before, like not that it didn't happen before, but I'm able to create so fast and get my name out and connect with so many people that's what I mean by everything just started lining up. Like when I used to post stuff on Instagram, it just wouldn't hit the same versus posting it on Twitter and being part of all these communities and on Discords. And it's like I disappear for like a little bit and I come back to like, oh my God, where have you been? And I'm like, it's not that I disappear, it's because I'm busy doing canvases or helping out another community.
Right.
There's so many communities that I'm a part of, and it's not even year one.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're just getting started. Oh my goodness.
I know apes that are part of thousands of communities.
Wow.
Think about how many people are in one community.
Yeah. How do you keep up?
I don't even know how I keep up. I'm trying to like, I just I make a balance of everything. I do a little bit of digital work on one day and then physical work the next day and then shipping and receiving and then just.
You have like a schedule.
Yeah.
That you follow.
Yeah.
Is there a difference to like how it feels to you as the artist when you work with the digital medium versus the traditional canvas medium?
I like the AC. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I work outside in the sun with the canvases, and when I'm inside with the AC, no, the difference is when you're painting on canvas, there's a little bit more concentration with your line work and how you want things, like how you want paint to work. Mm-hmm. When you're doing digital art, there's just, it's just smooth. It's like a lot easier. Right. Like there are some like hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it's just like seamless. And you do get burnt out after a while because if you're not paying attention, you'll spend 3 or 4 hours on an iPad because I don't stop. Like I'm just like, I'm going to create this piece and it's going to be something simple. And then 3 or 4 hours later, it's this
intricate, like
crazy thing. And I'm like, and it's because Procreate has all these brushes and all these layers, and you can there's so the iPad versus in real life canvas. Like, I wish we could figure out a way to integrate that somehow, but the iPad and Procreate have all these options, all these different settings that if you could do that on a brush or on a canvas, like if you could touch a canvas and mess with the settings and somehow it like morphed or something, that would be what Procreate is on the iPad, you know? Which I'm pretty sure some person in the future is going to get this conversation and try to,
It's like, look at what they were talking about.
They're like, oh, that's a great idea. Some engineer is going to create some type of morphing canvas with from a pen or something. But yeah, it's there's a lot more options on the iPad versus the canvas. The canvas is more like, I have my materials, I have the way I paint, and that's like what I stick to. And Procreate is just kind of like NFTs. It's like a whole new world. You know, you just kind of like, you know, flow right in there.
That's so cool. So you definitely like both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say both. Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy with it, but if I could do like if there's I take pictures of my canvas. Like, I'll paint the canvas, take a picture of it, and then I'll do a digital version on top. Mm-hmm. And then if I want to, then I can print that canvas out and then paint on top.
It's a loop.
It's just like a loop, you know? It's like, if I was really that crazy, we would like take it there, you know?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? You should do that one day just for fun. To see what happens.
It's like a small canvas, and it's like a bigger canvas, and then bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like
maybe that should be your next NFT.
It might be something. We might be onto something.
Huh. Yeah. And you got inspired here. Just nice. Next project. So speaking of projects, can you share some projects with us?
So I do have 2 projects that I'm going to be a part of. I can't really say too much about it. Right. So, I can talk about one.
Whatever you can, whatever little snippets you can share with us. So
me and my team, we're going to get signed to do a project. It's going to be 10,000 units. It's going to come out within the next couple of months. People will probably start noticing it on different social media platforms. So we definitely have that going on. And then we also have Project Roadmap. And what Project Roadmap is a company that me, my fiance, and my team, we formed during the inception of the 8 Wall of Fame. And basically what it is we are the utility for NFT projects. Okay. So when people purchase their NFT, they hire us out to do the in real life events. And that includes like murals, that includes canvases, tangible things that the IP owner are going to be able to have, and experiences as well. So that includes like time-lapse videos of us creating the artwork, recaps, like all these things are integrated within the experience of having their IP on a wall or on a canvas. And that's something that we want to bring to the table. And then within Project Roadmap, we're also thinking about doing NFT projects as well. But that's in the near future.
Yeah. That sounds so cool.
Yep.
And so the event that you had, I want to say 3 weeks ago, right? Kind of 3 weeks ago?
It's fast, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it was yesterday. It's already been 3 weeks. That's nice. Amazing. That was a real life event where you integrated a lot of, NFTs from the apes.
Yes.
And that was such a success. That was so much fun.
Yes.
What was that like, putting that together?
It was definitely a journey. So we, with the 8 Wall of Fame, we created the mural, we got it done, and we wanted to throw like an event right away. But what ended up happening was, whether, people are still getting sick from COVID and stuff. So we had to like take breaks and stuff. But what we wanted to do was prove to people, this is like a proof of concept. This is like, we could have gotten hired out, paint the wall, and that was it, Mm-hmm. But what we wanted to do is show people like the type of event what we can bring to the table. And, we wanted it to be like larger than life and crazy and stuff. Well, other people wanted that. But for me, I was like, well, we have the venue, we have the gallery, it doesn't have to be like 3,000 people. It could be something like, like a small little block, like a small little strip. And then we just, we got the venue. We started just putting everything together. Everything happened within the span of like a month or so, which we needed way more time, but we were able to.
It was so much fun
Yeah,
because it was large enough that you felt like you were back into the normal world of, pre-2020.
Yep.
But yet small enough where you can actually interact with people.
Yes. Yes. Everything was concentrated.
Yeah.
Which is what we wanted. Because the thing is, if you go bigger than what that space was, everyone starts getting spaced out and attention spans and everything. Like, I'm very big into activations and turning things into an experience. Mm-hmm. So I think that was like our main objective. My main thing was, this is what I have. This is what we're working with. What can we do? And it literally all started coming together little by little. And I had help from, D as Xavier, my fiance, my whole team. So it wasn't just me. Before I used to throw these events and just be like dead tired. And now I have people that I can rely on, to get it done. And I have apes that believe in what me and my team do, and other NFT communities believe in it too. So I think that's another reason why they trust us as a brand, is because we actually show up. Some artists, they paint and that's it. They get hired out to do the thing and that's it. And I'd rather us, like as a team, shake hands, meet people, conversate with the community, because they literally changed my life and everyone's life that's a part of our team. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love, that the aspects of giving back. But that event was so much fun.
Yes.
The people that we're surrounded by are still talking about it, and I can't wait for another one. No
Thank
pressure.
That was another thing too. Like a lot of the apes, a lot of the NFT people, they don't. So another reason why we did it was so I could show the people that helped us out, show them like where we came from. Like I came from hip hop. Like Diaz and Xavier all came from hip hop. Like all these people that I have at the show, they all came from that underground hip hop vibe. And if you look at Bored Ape, it kind of has like that feel to it, So it just, like I said, everything lined up. It was
perfect.
It was perfect, yeah.
Yeah, and what I liked about it too was how, so contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be an NFT holder to go to these events, right? Like the one you had. Yeah. You could just come, and get to meet people and ask questions, and everyone is just so happy to share whatever knowledge they have.
Yes. And I feel like that's the best way to onboard people. Now, there are going to be events where you do have to like show your MetaMask. Right, those are a little bit more, different. But this was more of like, hey, if you want to get onboarded, first check what this is all about and see like what everyone's all about. And then go home and then you could do your research. You know what I'm saying? Versus come to our event. We're going to stop all the music. All right, guys. So these are NFTs. Get your MetaMask. Oh, wait, the Wi-Fi's not working. All right, never mind, guys. Hold on. Okay, wait. It's loading up. Now you're going to buy it. First of all, when you buy an NFT, it's like super slow on OpenSea. You got to wait for that thing to, like...
It's eternal. It feels like. Or to watch it, like, load.
And you're just like, oh, my God. Like, did I buy it? Did my account get hacked? What's going on? Like... Right. Nah. And it's funny because my friend Jet, he was like, yeah, man, just make it a party, make it a celebration. All the other stuff, like the panels, the educational stuff, that would be more of a, like a panel event or something, for later on. I was like, perfect. Because that's what I specialize in, just throwing parties and good times and good vibes and good energy. And, I was looking at the event. I was live painting. I was like, man, this is going really smooth.
It went so well. It went so well. Like, we had such a good time. And I am not, what's the word? I don't want to say easy to impress because that's not true. But when it comes to, like, parties, I'm a very particular taste.
I think I'm the same way. No, I think
I don't like just the lights blaring and the music blasting and just smoke everywhere. Like, it's like, okay, I've been there, done that. I'm ready for something else.
Yeah.
I know people must be listening and being like, what the hell is she talking about?
No, I agree with you 100% because I go to a lot of parties and a lot of big events and I'm like, man, it is funny because you can have a lot of money and you can invest in throwing like this crazy event, but there might be just something that's just like off, and it just you know what I'm saying?
I've been to events like that where it's so clubby, right? It's so dark with the lasers going and the music is so loud that people end up staying in their little cliques. You know what I mean? Like you hang out with who you came with or the other person that's meeting you there, and you never really mingled. You never really explored, just because the environment doesn't really lend itself for you to approach someone and be like, hey, I like that piece, you're looking at it too, what do you think, or whatever. So no, it was kudos to you guys did an amazing job.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to make it, you know, fun for everyone, and just kind of like an experience, and just like open. You know, like I remember they were like, oh no, we're not going to open the doors. I was like, no, you guys should definitely open the doors so people can like walk in and out.
Feel welcomed.
And as soon as we did that, it was smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth.
I was there when they said like, oh, the store has to stay closed. And I thought that same thing that you just said. I said, well, if, you know, someone's driving by and or whatever, and they see, they might think it's a private event, or which it kind of was, but not really. It might deter people from coming in. And then they opened the door, and I was like, whoa, you could see the you know, the beeline going through.
And it was just, and it's funny because like a lot of people, like they were like, oh no, you should do it like this, you should do it like that. And I'm like, this is how circulation works, guys. You open the front doors and you open the other door, and everybody just does this. Yeah. But the thing is that people started hanging out a lot in the back, and I was like, oh, this does look like a block party. Because I was telling people we were painting the wall. I was like, this is going to be a block party. Right. And I was like, damn it, we did it. We actually did it. Yeah. We did it, you know? It took a lot of work, but it was like with the wall too. Like when we finished painting the wall, it was like, well, we're painting the wall, and I remember telling myself like, man, I don't know how we're going to finish this. I don't know. Like we have to live. We have the artist, but this is a lot of work. Right. You know, I remember every day being like, man, this is like every time I did details, everything, I was like, man, this is actually work. Even though I'm an artist, I'm like, this is work. This is we're there 12 to 14 hours a day. Wow. Painting it, you know? And I was like, guys, I think we should throw an event for this because this is too big for it to just be like a spot for people to do photos, you know? And just seeing everything flow, and then seeing them, Xavier and Diaz painting next to me, and, you know, I only painted like 2 pieces that night, but I was able, like, after I painted those 2 pieces, just to talk to people, and I was like, okay, this is like, and I hope other people can throw events like that too for the NFT space. But if anyone were to approach us, like, we're going to come from an angle of, you know, hard work, dedication, and then we'll sit back and relax and enjoy the fruits of our labor, you know? But but I appreciate, you know, people like you seeing it for like what it is, and seeing the creativity, and then seeing like there was a lot of different communities. Yeah. So yeah, there's the NFT community, but then there's the whole dance community that was there, that they're learning about NFTs. So now they get inspired, and then they can create their own NFT project. And who knows, maybe a year from now, those dancers, they all become millionaires because they went to our event.
You never know.
How do you put a dollar amount on that? How do you put a price? Yeah. It's priceless.
It's the opportunity for creativity, what I love about all this stuff.
That's it.
And creativity on so many different ways, because like you said, you could be the artist, you could be the developer, you could be the business person. Yep. There's just so much. Yep. You know. Yep. And
the thing is, you'll know if someone's real, because if someone goes into the space, they're like, hey, like, I have an opportunity for you, and this, that, and third, you know, it's like, once you start explaining to them logistically what it takes to do something, you'll see, like, if they really want to do it, you know?
Right. Because everything looks easy when someone else does it. Or when they achieved it. Yeah. Right? It's like, oh, that I could have done that.
I could do that, yeah.
And it's like, no, you couldn't.
You could, but it's going to be a nightmare for you. Because you didn't go through the nightmare like I went through. Right. You know, I made it through the other side.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. You can do it, and you should attempt to just understand that everything takes hard work. You can't. There's no easy formula. for real stuff, you know, for things that are substantial and are gonna last.
Yep.
There's no easy formula.
I'm big on tangible stuff. I'm very big. Like, I'm big on how people treat other people, and because
the
like
little things,
that's what I mean. Like, what's the point of me throwing an event if I am distant and discentered? Like and it was funny because I was talking to Mario, who was the dancer hosting the event, and he was telling me, he's like, before all this, it was like 2 weeks before the event. He was like, "What's your intent for the event?" And my intent is like, oh yeah, like, is my intent to make money? Is it to connect to this? Like, I started thinking very like and I'm like, he's like, figure out what your intent is, and once you're content with your intent, then you'll be happy, you'll be relaxed. So for me, I just wanted the event to go smooth.
Right.
I wanted it to go smooth. I don't want nothing crazy to happen. I want everybody to have a good time. Like, like, I don't care if my bank account is 0 or this, that, and a third. Like, I want everybody to have a good time.
But Mario, that's such a good quote. We're gonna have to quote you.
Yeah.
Be content with your intent. That's deep.
But he told me, and it made me think. I was like, what are really? And I'm kind of glad that he told me that, because if I didn't think about it, I'm just gonna show up to the event and just be like I'm just part of the event, like it's there, versus like being outside of it. I've thrown so many really cool events that I had to take a step back and just look at what happened. Because I get, there's something that I get out of it that I'm just like, maybe it's God, maybe it's creativity, maybe it's something, but I'm like, the things just like line up, and people just have like a good time. People have a good feeling, and it's like when you watch an amazing movie or you see Disney or Pixar for the first time, you're just like, wow, you're this is something innovating,
Right.
So I guess it's scary to take those jumps and those leaps, but I'm happy I did it. So
yeah. I think we can all say that we're happy you did it. So let's talk a little bit about Miami and the art scene. So we've seen how much Miami's becoming a name in the art world.
Yes.
And this is so exciting, and I would say long overdue, because we've always had art here.
Yes.
But what's it been like for you? What do you think about all the changes going on?
So with Miami, you got Wynwood, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of artists. Like, it's like a melting pot, But again, because you have a lot of artists, it's oversaturated, so it's hard to figure out like what to look at, what to value, and like who's like the next big person. And it's like the same. It's the same everywhere you go. So it's like, what's gonna make you stand out from everyone else? Like is it hard work? Is it networking? For me, for a little bit, I didn't want to go out because I didn't want to be an artist that was known to like network. Because I feel like you should be known for your work and not because.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but the thing is that like you need a balance of both. So now we have NFTs.
Yeah, because if you don't network, how are they going to know your art?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But purist people that look at art, they're like, oh, I'm just going to post it up on social media and someone's going to recognize my stuff and that's it. But you can't think like that anymore. You can't think if you're going to paint a mural in Wynwood or you're going to have a gallery show in Wynwood, then that's going to take you to the next level. You have to think outside of a gallery. You have to think outside of creating art.
The world is changing and we can't approach things the same way we've been doing it for,
I think what it is that nobody stops to pivot. Everyone stops and they want the world to be how they want it. And then they end up either stopping or they get frustrated or, for me, I observe from the outside, even though I'm creating all the time and I'm like right here creating, doing all the stuff, like sometimes I do stop and I check the temperature of the room and I see how things move. Like I don't think people are ready for how everything's going to change. I don't think artists are ready because artists are going to come in. They're going to be like, oh yeah, here's my project. And it's like, there's way more than you just putting your art up there.
Yeah.
You have a lot of responsibility. You have as an artist that's going to create an NFT project, you have a lot of responsibility. So we have great artists. I believe Miami has amazing artists, I just want artists to like step up and just really take control, and maybe they need a team, maybe they need a squad, maybe they need like a project, who knows, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think the dynamic of everything is going to change. So it's not going to be like, hey, we're throwing a gallery show. Now the community is going to help you do that. The community is going to give you that fuel for you to put in work every day, because you're not doing it for yourself anymore.
Right.
You're doing it for 10,000 people
that believed in you and love your art.
But there's a mental, so that's also meant, that's a lot of pressure for artists as well. So it's like, and you're going to mess up, and the community is going to get mad at you too sometimes, because they're not going to understand. There's 10,000 people. Someone's going to get mad at you.
Yeah, the odds are.
The odds are. Someone was going to get mad. Someone's going to be like, oh, but the thing is, it's like, you got to not disconnect or be cold, but you got to like differentiate where your energy is going to go. I think Miami is the perfect place for it, because we're so eclectic. We have all these things going on that artists are going to be able to be like, oh yeah, I can pivot. I can adapt. Because that's how it is. You don't want to be stuck in traffic? That's okay. You get off the exit and you go to the back roads. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you take a break. You know, some people do. They wait 2 hours before they go back on the road, and they go work out or go do something different because they don't want to be stuck in traffic. That's an analogy. So
yeah. No, it's perfect. It's true. And you're bringing up some really good points, some really solid advice. So thank you. Yeah. I hope whoever's listening can apply it, and not just if you're an artist, but just in life in general. You know, you got to adapt. It's the way human nature is. If you don't, you're in trouble.
To answer your question, with art, or where Miami art or artists, where everything's happening right now, Wynwood was just warehouses, right, at the beginning. Then they got murals. Then it became a place where people would take selfies and throw gallery events. Then you had to pay for parking. Those buildings went down. Sky rises. Now you have NFTs. I'm telling you, like, it's going to be crazy, but like, someone's going to buy a whole town, and the whole town is just going to be NFTs advertisement or IRL event spaces, or it might be an island. Who knows? Yeah. But that's where we're heading to. So artists are going to have to wrap their heads around that, and either create something for themselves, because it's no longer to be like, hey, this is the Roc Sol gallery show, you know, or you know what I'm saying, like, this is the artist gallery show. It's gonna be way bigger than that. Your name is gonna go to India, to Cuba, to Croatia, to Libya, and all these other places. Like, you're gonna connect with everyone. Another reason why I do my derivatives and sometimes I give them away is because there's someone across the world that you don't know what their situation is. You do a background artwork for them, and it just changes their mentality of the NFT space, or how they see America, or how they see people.
Oh, wow, you're giving me goosebumps. That never crossed my mind. Yeah, because we're so concentrated on our little bubble. You're so right. It's everywhere. You know, everyone can see it. It reaches people from all over the world, all different cultures. And right now, the way the world is on fire, you doing something that could be as little as that, it can have such a ripple effect.
Yeah, I have sleepless nights because I probably do like 50 or 20 of them.
Oh my
goodness. Like at night, like from like 12 all the way to 5 a.m. or something, you know, like, or like, I don't stop. And I'm just doing it for the community, and I'm doing it, you know, like, and I do get commissioned out to do them. So I'm good. Like, I'm taken care of. Right. But like, a lot of it is, you know, because I know that people are going to remember the name, and they're going to remember everything that we're doing. Everything in this space that we do, they're going to remember it. And it's funny because I went to NFT Miami, and it's cool, like, going to the booths and stuff, but I'm so big on experiences. Mm-hmm. I'm so big on just walking in and it being like an ambiance. Like, Dudos, they had an event in Austin, Texas, and they retrofitted the whole place to fit their NFT project. And I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for investing your money and time and turning something into like what Disney would be. Yeah. You know, like, It's an experience. You're going to walk in, your IP owners are going to be blown. They're going to be like, oh my God, you mean there's a coffee with my NFT on the coffee? Like, okay. I scan my QR code, and then my merch comes out in a little like moving roller coaster. you know, and I'm a part of this community, and someone invested money into doing this. This is cool. Right. You know, like, how do you explain that to someone? You know, like if you would explain, like, hey, you're gonna invest in Disney, and Disney is gonna have all these rides and this, that, and the third, and you're gonna help make that happen. Like, you'll look at Disney from where it started to where it's at now and be like,
well, didn't Walt Disney have trouble with, like, as a kid? Wasn't he told that he couldn't draw or something like that?
Probably. I'm not too sure, but when you're
someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere.
Or maybe it was Stan Lee. I think it was a Walt or Stan Lee. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, Google to the rescue.
Siri, oh, it's actually listening.
Props. Yeah, she's always listening. Chismosa. Yeah, I don't know. You're making me question. I'm thinking somehow it's Walt Disney that, like, or he wasn't good in school. He wasn't told he wasn't smart, something like that. So, but to bring it back to your point, it's hard, right? When you're creating something that doesn't exist, something out of nothing, and even as small as a business, right? Even if you're just replicating a business model, like you're opening up a shop. There are other shops out there, but yours is, you're making it, right? It's so hard, right? It's so difficult to explain that, to tell people what's not there, how it's going to be. So imagine for something that there is no model, that it's being created literally as we speak, as we go. It's difficult to wrap your head around it.
We're creating industries, small businesses within the NFT space. I just created, this is my business, you know, like there it is, you know, like it exists now, you know, it's a LLC. And so like the dude's example is, to me, it's crazy because they actually didn't set what they were going to do. They're like, hey, we're going to throw an in real life event. We're not going to tell you how crazy it's going to be. I don't know if there was any leaks or any alpha on it, but they put their money where their mouth is, and they were able to create something out of a project that was created months ago. Creating these experiences takes years to do, right. You know, like it takes years to have the creative director, to get the venue, to retrofit it, to get all the merch ready, to let people know that it's going to be in South by Southwest. Like not saying that it takes like forever, but
it takes time.
It takes time. The fact that we can do it this quick, I don't think people are ready for what this year holds and what next year is. I just saw the DJ Tunes IRL meetup, and it looked like they were in an arcade game.
Oh my goodness!
The whole place looked arcade, and I'm just like,
so fun.
And I'm like, all right, cool. So now when I buy this NFT, I get to meet these people that I haven't seen before. All I know is their PFP, but I get to meet them in person. Right. They see how I am. They see that I'm a positive person. They're a positive person, and it's like, it's really changing the dynamic of like how we see each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then once we're in those events and we got the people dancing, the fire dancers, the drums, the break dance, we have all the stuff. We're like, okay, all this was created because someone decided to put out a project and get us all together. And maybe you have 5 or 6 NFTs, and one of those you need to sell because you need to liquidate it for a house. Mm-hmm. Well, now you have it.
Right.
Or you need to pay for surgery for your family member. Now you have it. Or you need to leave a country, you know, that's going through something, and you have that asset. So now that asset gives you access into other places that you wouldn't have it before. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's one of the best things about it. There's just so many opportunities with it, you know? Yeah. It's not just this little art picture thingy that's somewhere in your, you know, in your page, as people say.
Yeah. It's really changing people's lives, and it's crazy because I had a dinner one time with my fiance and her friend, and her husband, and he's a music teacher, and she's an organizer, so she organizes like a lot of nonprofit events and stuff. And you know, we were just sitting and, you know, just talking, and I just started bringing up NFTs, and I started, you know, explaining about what a ledger is, and when you buy this ledger, it holds all your assets in your Ethereum, and they actually have like this metal plate that comes with it with your 12 seed freight words, so that way if the house burns down, you at least have those seed freight words, and even if you lose your ledger, you can access your account with those 12 words. And he just, his eyes lit up, he's like, oh, I want to buy one now.
Yeah.
I started explaining to them how NFTs work, how how music NFTs work too. Like what, how you can integrate music and stuff. And like the guy the next day just started going on Twitter Spaces. They were hitting us up being like, hey, like we have our MetaMask set up. Oh, we're going to buy our first NFT.
That's amazing.
They bought a DJ Tunes. They're trying to they're asking us and again, this is not financial advice,
Right. Always that disclaimer. But you're on your own.
I've seen people sell like their NFTs just to pay off their house, or and it's just like what? Like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's here. It exists. So
be a part of it, or not if you're not ready, but definitely start to dip your toe. Join a Twitter space, come to an event that's open to people, to the public. Just start talking to people. I think that's the easiest, safest way.
I started, I think 4 months ago with 0 ETH. I didn't have no Ethereum. And, for me, people started paying me in Ethereum because of the art that I was creating, and it accumulated, But some people, they might start with 0, and then they might end up, working at a Discord and being a mod, and then they get gifted an NFT because they're a moderator in the Discord, or they're a host in a Twitter space for that project. There are ways for people to get in where they can start with 0 ETH, no money, and they'll get paid in Ethereum, and then they can use that to purchase NFTs and stuff like that. And then from there, you just start playing,
Yeah. Nothing is written in stone. See what you can bring to the table.
Yes.
Maybe you have a skill, an ability, an idea that hasn't been thought of yet.
Yeah.
And here you are with your idea, and you have something of value to give.
Yep.
So, but you never know unless you dive in. You
can be a part of a project and get paid hourly for it, and also get Ethereum, and then you can learn while you're doing that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be taught by the other people in that community. So it's it's endless. You just have to be open-minded and just surround yourself with like-minded individuals, and you're gonna soar. You're gonna, and not only you're gonna soar, you're gonna change people's lives. That's the only reason. One of the main reasons why we do it is because we want to help people that are gonna help people. Mm-hmm. I want to help my mom and my dad. I want to help everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's it's only the beginning. For sure.
That was beautifully said. So one last question for you. I always ask our guests to recommend a book or to share with us their favorite book or author. Okay. What would yours be?
A book. I haven't read books in such a long time. Can I recommend the show?
Or anything that that means something to you.
There's this show that I started watching again. It's called the OA, the original.
I feel like, oh my goodness, that's back? No,
it's on Netflix.
Okay, but it's not.
It's a crazy show. So
I saw it.
You saw it?
I'm remembering the ending right now as you brought it up.
There's 2 series. There's the first one and the second one.
Season 2, right?
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for people.
So the OA is a cool story. It's basically about people coming back from life to death, and having these crazy experiences. There's a big story behind it. Mm-hmm. But I like it because there's this saying, and I hope I don't kill it, but in the show, the saying is to live is to survive unfair circumstances. So it's it was during a scene where the person's like, oh, why is this happening to me? And this lady says that to her. And it made me realize about life. It's like we already exist, we're alive, and we already survived unfair circumstances. So we should, just appreciate life every day. So that resonated with me. And
Yeah.
it's not a book, but it's definitely a really crazy story, and that part is in that story.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I remember that show. I saw it a couple of years ago, and it was. I mean, I still remember it.
It's
so
intricate.
It's good.
Yep.
If that tells you anything, it's good. Definitely recommend it. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about that show.
Yep. Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, the introduction to the show was at the like mid part of the end.
Right.
Like they started introducing like the next episode within the first episode, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, this is a very interesting way of filming.
Yeah, it's a little trippy at first when you first start watching it, but then it all makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the director, and it's funny, her story is crazy, but I think like she went to like school for film, or she did something different. It was like marketing or something. It wasn't even film. It was something different, and she came up with the story, and it got picked up from Netflix, and then she became the actor, the main actor. The main actor is the director and the writer as well.
No, I did not know, and she's
really good,
insanely good.
Yeah.
Insanely good.
Yeah, it was her and her friend. They went to like school for, I don't know if it was for writing or for screenplay or something, and then it just got picked up, and she just knew how to play that part, like that.
But she directed it as well.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
that's crazy because visually, it's impressive.
Yeah,
like I can't imagine that it was someone's first time doing something like that.
If she didn't direct it, the director, whoever did direct it, had a lot of faith in her acting and her writing ability.
Right. So, no, for either way,
yeah.
it's a huge accomplishment.
So when I saw it, I was like, this is really creative, and this is not like a movie. This is not like a show. This is like this is like a someone's baby.
Yeah.
And it became like a reality. You know, I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to rewatch it now because I remember a lot of it, but there's always things that escape you. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us and for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
And we can't wait to see all the amazing things that you're gonna accomplish.
Thank you.
This year and beyond, but. Everything's going so fast. I feel like this year it's going to be...
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's happening so fast that I have to slow down. And I like to move fast.
Right. Yeah, but that says a lot. That even if someone that likes to move fast is like, okay, hold on. I need to take it all in.
Yep.
That's super cool. Well,
thank you guys for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. And to everyone listening and watching, thank you so much. Make sure to reach out to Rocky and support his art and his future projects.
Yes.
And we can't wait to have you back. Talk about other projects.
Yes, and pastelitos.
Guayaba pastelitos. I won't forget.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.